My name is James Dew II, and I have been asked to deliver a speech of celebration of life for my grandmother, Mary Frances Coleman. I must be honest, as I stand here before you today, my heart is reluctant to fully accept my grandmother's passing. But then I am reassured, and that reassurance comes from knowing that the place that she now rests is far greater than the place that she has left behind. And that place that she now rests is in the loving arms of our Most High and Heavenly Father. And with this reassurance, I can truly say that we will have a celebration of her life here today. Mary Frances Coleman was born Mary Frances Davenport on June 7, 1922, to parents James and Elizabeth Davenport in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Mary Frances was the youngest of two children, her elder brother being Bartholomew Davenport, also lovingly known as Uncle Bo. From a very young age, Mary Frances was a bubbly and energetic child. She loved playing in the front yard with her dog that she called Tinky. She loved baking and cooking and helping her mother around the house. And at the tender age of 13, she accompanied her mother as a maid to the aristocratic elite of Chattanooga, Tennessee. At the age of 18 years old, she met and wed my grandfather, James Edward Huff. And shortly after, they had their first child, James Edward Huff Jr., followed by Richard Huff, and then David Huff, my mother, Ernestine Huff, Brenda Huff, and Renee Huff. 6 children they had together that my grandmother and grandfather loved with their whole heart. Unfortunately, in 1971, my grandfather passed away of lung cancer. My grandmother felt that it was imperative to move the children to an area of greater opportunity. So she moved to California, South Central LA in 1971, and she began to encourage education to all 6 of her children. My grandmother did not go past the 7th grade, as many of you know, and once they moved to California, she felt the need to press upon her children the significance of education. She herself returned to school, got her diploma, and then went on to get her LVN, to become an LVN in 1974. And in 1978, she went on to meet and then wed Vernon Coleman. They lived happily together for many years. They attended University Church in Los Angeles, where my grandmother became an elder. She was a head usher. Then she went to become a deaconess, and then she became an elder, actually, of the church. And in 1987, the city of Los Angeles decided they were going to build a freeway, and it was going to come right into the neighborhood where my grandmother's home was. She decided then to move the children from South Central LA to Riverside, California. During the 80s, there was a lot of gang activity, and she felt it in her heart and in her spirit to move her children and her grandchildren to a better environment. From 1988 up until her passing, she lived happily in Riverside, California, where she loved and embraced her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren. She would often say and be quoted in saying, whenever we had a family gathering, she would say, "Everything in this room has my blood in it." And that was a statement that was very, very true. And it was something that we, the grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and her own children took great pride in. She was a woman who loved the Lord and had a great knowledge of her Bible and the things that the Lord has promised his children. She would often say, in regards to truth and honesty, truth is like cream. It would always rise to the top. Another one of her great sayings was, "Don't be anyone's doormat, but love everyone." She pressed integrity, honesty, and loving your fellow man. I know for a fact that her greatest longing and want for her family and for her friends and those around was to become a child of Christ and a follower of Christ, and to know him deeply as she did. I think that I think that her legacy is knowing Christ, loving your family, being respectful to mankind. This is something that we can all take with us, live and embrace, and it will and can carry us into the kingdom. Let us continue to celebrate the life of my grandmother, Mary Frances Coleman.